Hmm. Ladies and gentlemen, is Declan Rice simply too good to not have in your team? I mean, Premier League proven, one of the best players for West Ham, a very good defensive midfielder who can be box to box. I mean, is there a reason to perhaps think a little bit deeper about this particular player? I know there's a lot of fans out there, Chelsea fans out there, that love Declan Rice. Maybe it's time to think a little bit more. Let's react to Mark Noble's comments from Rio Ferdinand's channel, Vibe with Five. I found it very, very interesting, the stuff that Mark Noble was saying, and I think we need to pay a little bit more attention to this.
All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin.
Welcome back to the other side of the coin, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, yet another video. This one is a reaction video. I love doing these reaction videos, especially when there's key guests in Five with Five, and these player interviews, they have some really interesting things to say, and it's good to react on those information. I know the January transfer window is over while we're talking about players coming in and this and that, but it's good to know what is required perhaps for summer. There's talks about there could be a big summer attack, renovation, and so on and so forth, like a transformation. That's the word that's been going around. I know this particular player that we're going to talk about is not really from the attacking side of things, but possibly could be as well, if you're thinking about it from a box-to-box perspective. But Mark Noble is been on Rio Ferdinand's channel recently, and that particular episode is live right now on Vibe with Five, and he had some really interesting things to say about Declan Rice, and I really wanted to share that with you guys and react with you guys about it. But before we get to that, he talked about many other factors as well. Firstly, he talked about Gianfranco Zola. I thought, from a Chelsea fans' perspective, this is interesting to know what Mark Noble had to say about Gianfranco Zola. So let's start with this, and we'll warm ourselves into Declan Rice situation. So here we go.
Zavon Hines, he said that he trained, obviously he's played underneath Zola, and apparently in training he was an absolute
I see
joke.
Sav yesterday actually, and we was having a chat. He takes, I think, the 14s or the 15s, and this is serious. We was struggling at the time, and we had a lot of injuries, and I think me and Scotty Parker said to him, because he was so good in training, he was so fit. Like we said, you might have to sign up for a player, as in the manager, because he was that good, really. The first training session, he obviously watched for a while, and then he joined in one session, and then the ball got slapped into him, and his first touch was as you know, he's incredible, and then he chipped Robert Green from just outside the box. He did, and it was like the lads were like, "Oh mate, that was special." And then the further the season went on, we were struggling. We just said to him, "Look, why don't you sign up as a player? You can come on the last 20 minutes and create something."
You said it seriously to him?
No, this was seriously. Right. It was that good, mate. I swear to you. It was still fit as anything, ripped to shreds. But Gianfranco is the sort of guy that was sort of embarrassed by that. Do you know what I mean? Like he was quite shy as a person. But we were serious. Like he was that good. We were serious. Lucky enough, we escaped, and Scotty scored a fantastic goal to keep us up. But what a lovely man.
Wow, it's incredible to hear such amazing stories about Gianfranco Zola. Look, I probably started following Chelsea from around the 2000 onwards. Wasn't really, focusing on every single game, week in, week out, up until maybe when Abramovich took over. I know some of you guys was like, here we go, another one of those Abramovich. But that's when I started watching, to be honest. Before that, I didn't know anything about club football. And I did see a bit of Gianfranco Zola during that time frame, and my days, I mean, so silky, so technical, brilliant finisher, explosive as well when he needed to be. Obviously, later on in the end of his Chelsea career, it was somewhat sort of not at his peak, but earlier days, I believe he started his career in 1996 for Chelsea, finished around 2003. And it's incredible to hear from Mark Noble because I believe Gianfranco Zola was the manager of West Ham around 2008. And, well, by then he would have been 40 plus. And they still believed he could have played in the Premier League because he had the quality. I mean, it's incredible. I wish we had a player like that right now. I wish Chelsea Football Club had technical players like Zola who were great at dribbling, great at finishing, could be so explosive. I mean, he was just, I miss players like that. I really do. Let's now get into the Declan Rice conversation. There's 3 clips actually for Declan Rice. Let's look at the first clip.
Declan Rice, you've mentioned him. When it comes to the way he retains information, surely he must have a gift there because we see him, he's joking around, etc. But when he's on the pitch, the focus is next levels, man, for the club and for England.
I think he's gone from strength to strength. Obviously, I think we've all seen now how good he is now. I've been saying it for years, but people was questioning about whether he passed forward enough, and but I think he's took his game to the next level now. I think he proved that in the Euros, especially in the final. I thought for 75 minutes he was the best player on the pitch. And I've said it for a long time. I actually still think he's going to get better. I still think he can score more goals. I still think he can create more for the team. He does an incredible job for us, sweeping up and interceptions. But he's also really good when you're going forward. We see it in training how good he is at finishing and how technically good he is. So for me, he is. And you can say it when you've played with or you've played against and you've played with good players. You can tell straight away whether they're a little bit different. And he's got everything all round. Well,
I mean, ladies and gentlemen, this is something we seriously need to consider now. I know in the past maybe I was thinking, how's Declan Rice going to fit in at Chelsea? We play a possession-based football. And Mark Noble goes on to say in this particular interview that West Ham are set up for the counter-attacking football. And David Moyes knows exactly what needs to be done. And which kind of tells you that they don't really hold possession for too long. That's not the way they play. So I always had that sort of understanding, how's Declan Rice going to fit in? But now I'm thinking if we do progress towards a 4 at the back with a lone DM, which I feel in order to be a lot more attacking, I know I'm not having a go at the 3 at the back. You can be very attacking with the 3 at the back, but it's very dependent on the wing backs. We need to have supreme wing backs. And right now we probably have 2 with Reece James and Chilwell. You probably need 4. You need 2 more on both sides. And I just don't feel that it gets the best out of our attackers. Now, you can say, well, there could be an attacking transformation that could happen in the summer. Look, I don't think we're going to get a wholesale of players coming in. It's not like we're going to get rid of all our attackers and bring in a whole new set of attackers. One thing we could focus on, and maybe we should be focusing on in summer, is if we want to transition from a 3 at the back to a traditional 4 with fullbacks and a lone DM, we need a very athletic type of a lone DM who is still capable with the ball. And this is not having a guy at Jorginho 1B. Jorginho can play as a lone DM, as a regista, does that for Italy, has done that for us as well. Even in the 3 at the back, he plays as the deepest midfielder, but you got 3 defenders to protect him. There are times where it's 2 when the other one sort of drifts towards the right. But there are times where Jorginho gets caught out. And I feel like a player like Declan Rice, the only thing that I've been saying, can he manage it in a possession base? Maybe he can. He's young. Technically, he's sound. He's powerful, athletic. We've seen this season and last season as well, especially this season, he can be box to box. He can finish. He can score. And as Mark Noble was saying, someone who mops up at the back, interceptions, tackles. It's very important and something to think about. The price tag is going to be incredible, but is he perhaps worth it if we want to play as a single 6, I suppose? Something to think about. Premier League proven. And Thomas Tuchel, apparently, the word is he likes this player. Let's check out clip number 2.
Midfielders you've played alongside or against?
Reed, you know what? It's like, I don't know whether when you went from West Ham to Leeds to United and gradually you play with better players, but do you know, like, just the way in training, like someone takes the ball. Do you know what I mean? Like, as in when you're pressing or when you're watching, and the way they move with the ball. And I don't know whether you've seen in the last, especially the last 6 months, how he's improved his game, where he drops the shoulder and he drives past you, and he just looks on another planet when he does that, because he's so physically strong and powerful that you can't catch him. And that's what I mean by he does that so well now. And when he gets into the outside the box, and because he's striking of the ball is top notch, that he can even score more goals. And I'm pretty sure he'll bring that to his game, because he keeps learning.
These are some high praise from Mark Noble. We should not be taking Mark Noble as some sort of a dummy. I mean, this guy's played for over 400 games for West Ham, one club man. You need to watch this particular episode where you get to know a lot more about Mark Noble. The way he developed. He started as a 17-year-old and was thrown into West Ham's starting lineup and was really believed by the fans, by the managers, played under several managers, and the praise he's got for Declan Rice, training, strong, the way he takes the ball, the way he drives from deep, drops the shoulder, the way he strikes the ball. I mean, these are things I feel, look, even a fan like me, who's probably not been that supportive towards getting Declan Rice, even I need to think about it. And this is the thing. Many people are, that's a flip-flop. It's not. If you are stubborn and you hold on to your belief that that's it, this is it, I don't want to hear anything else, I feel like that's when you become a loser. You have to be able to have your belief, but at the same time hear other people out to see what they have to say, and then make a judgment that maybe you could be wrong. Maybe you should give this an opportunity. I feel like Declan Rice is a particular player, and I've seen him play well. And there are games where I haven't seen him play well as well. The price tag is the one thing that really, really worries me. But is he someone on the up? There's no doubt about that. He is someone on the up, and there's a lot of teams that are going for him. Let's have a look at clip number 3 now.
Player, you want him about stuff like that?
Yeah, I think he said in an interview the other day that he knows even now when I do something in training, he's still on me. But when I look at his game, and when I watch him play and I watch him in training, that I never had his strength and his legs, and I never had that. I could play, but I never had that sort of power. So for me, watching on, if he becomes, and I still think he's one of the best in the world at it now, but if he becomes like the Steven Gerrard mold, where he's getting 10, 12 a season from that position, and that in assists as well, then you're going on to be a top one of the best in the world.
Because there ain't many now that do that box to box.
No, that's what I'm saying. You
like
sort
holder,
yeah,
or
you're
you're an attacking midfielder.
Yeah, I say that all the time in the academy. You get stuck in a position now. You're a number 4 or you're number 8. You're like when I first got into the first team at West Ham, and we played like United or Chelsea, and like Gerrard would get the ball off the back 4, and within 2 minutes he'd be like scoring in the 6-yard box, and you don't really get that anymore. You play against Yaya Toure, and he was the same. Scholesy was the same. He done the same. He was the same sort of player, and obviously Stevie G, Lamps, and even Ballack when he was at Chelsea. Big, strong, powerful boys that played both positions. Like they'd sweep up in front of the back 4, but also then they'd get on the end of a cross and score. And I don't think that happens quite as much in the game.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, some high praise from Mark Noble. I get it; he's his teammate, but you can see Mark's not just fluffing. He's talking about training, talking about being box to box. He's the type of player that can sweep up in the and help out in defense in a back 4, and then within a split second could then bump forward and help out in attack. This is something that is missing in our game, ladies and gentlemen. If I'm being absolutely honest, this is something. I know we play a different brand of football. I know that we want to rely on our attackers to produce. It's not really up to the midfielders. Midfielders are more of the engineers, I suppose, under how Thomas Tuchel's playing. But I think Thomas Tuchel's doing that is because of the characteristics of the players that we have. We don't have a Declan Rice in our team. We simply don't have that. I mean, yeah, you can say N'Golo Kante. N'Golo Kante is a machine, no doubt, and he is box to box. But Kante is not someone who's known for his striking ability in terms of scoring. I know recently he did one, I believe was a Leicester, where he scored this season. And throughout his season, he's done that, but it's not like he's known to do that. But Declan Rice could possibly be that type of a player. I mean, to be likened with the likes of Steven Gerrard. I still remember when Steven Gerrard cracked into the Premier League, young Steven Gerrard, early days, early 2000s. He was good and he had that raw talent, but it was later on in his years when he was more 25, 26, 27, 28. That's when Steven Gerrard really kicked in later on in his prime days. And I feel like Declan Rice could be that. He's still young, and his prime days, he could mold into that type of a player, and Thomas Tuchel could possibly help him out. Let me know, guys, what you feel about Declan Rice. Those were the clips of Declan Rice. I want to share a few other clips now. I hope you guys can stick around. First of all, about Dimitri Payet, because Mark Noble goes around and talks about Dimitri Payet, which was interesting. And there's one more after that, which is interesting about youth players. So let's have a look at the Dimitri Payet clip.
Peter, Dimitri Payet as well. Where does he rank in the top players you've played with? That season he had was phenomenal.
Like, he was. Do you know when you actually? There's only a certain amount of times in training and games where you just think, wow, like that is nuts. I want to be able to do that. You think, why can't I do that? It looks so easy. But he was just so good, mate, at times, and obviously we all know about his free kicks, but in training at times and in games, he'd do things where you just think, wow, like he's another level. And just in games, he would change them himself. He's one of them that you think, oh, do you know what? We actually need to score now, so I'm going to do something. And that was how good he was at times. And he's probably one of the reasons that season under Slaven, the last season, and at the Bowling, we done so well, because he was just on another level.
That's incredible comments from Noble again. I mean, the way he talks about Dimitri Payet, like he's one of those players like, we're going to do something right now, got to score, and you'll go and do something. I mean, I had the privilege of seeing Payet live, albeit for a very short time. It was 2015, 16 season at the end in December. The season when Jose Mourinho got sacked the second time around. I remember watching West Ham versus Liverpool. At that time, it was Upton Park. And West Ham won 2-0. I still remember. And Payet just came back from injury. And I remember he came on, I think, on the 80th minute or something like that, played like the final 10 minutes, and he looked majestic. His touches looked unbelievable. Liverpool had no idea whenever Payet had the ball. And this was Payet just coming back from injury. And I keep wondering, like, now, who is our Payet? Like, I wish our scouts just did the job and found magical players like that. I mean, how is West Ham finding players like Dimitri Payet back then? And even now, Dimitri Payet is still a magnificent player. But that Dimitri Payet at West Ham, I don't know if you guys remember, that was a freak of a player, man. Those free kicks, those goals, there were some unbelievable long ranges, short, inside the box goals, chipping keepers. I mean, some of the passing abilities from Dimitri Payet was unbelievable as well. And that season, West Ham actually did very, very well. And I just wish our scouts were able to find gems like that. Payet, no one knew about Payet when he went to West Ham, but my days, by the time he left, everyone knew who Payet was. And I know right now, not many people talk about him, but genius of a player. Let's have a look at the final clip about Diangana, which is more about youth players getting sold.
At West Ham, I want to stay here, but I think West Brom we had a bid. We accepted a bid from West Brom because I think Slaven really wanted him, and I just thought at that time it was good to keep homegrown players around the place. I think we had a great one in Deck, and we had another great one in Grady that we've brought through the academy. And I know sometimes you have to turn a profit. I really do understand that. But at that time, I thought he was going to be a massive asset to us. And if you look back now, obviously we've done great. So maybe I was wrong to say it, but I do believe that he was going to be a top player and be a massive player for the club. So yeah, that was why I'd done it.
I love how humble Mark Noble is in this entire interview. Do make sure you check that out. But I love the way he talks about how he believed Diangana at that time. You know, the club needed to keep more of the youngsters. Declan Rice was there, and then he wanted to let go of Diangana. And he also admitted the fact that, you know, they're doing well now. Maybe he was wrong. Maybe the club did the right thing. And I think what I'm trying to get to in this particular clip is that, as we can see, it's a business, ladies and gentlemen. These clubs, they want to turn over these youngsters because they know they can make a quick buck out of it. They can make a profit out of it. But sometimes the players internally, they feel that it's probably required now to have some of these youngsters. I feel right now as well at Chelsea Football Club, players like Harvey Vale, I feel like they deserve a bit more time. Do you know what I mean? Like, some of our attackers are not doing good. Maybe a player like Harvey Vale could just spark that, you know, bit of momentum, bit of motivation within the camp. You just don't know. Maybe it could be the kick up the backside for the attackers when they see a youngster producing like that. But yet, you know, another one being Armando Broja. You know, these sort of players, I feel like you can build a team around. I'm not saying influx the entire team with all these academy players, youth players, no. But there's certain players that you feel like maybe they got it. You just don't know. Maybe you could be wrong. Maybe you could be wrong as well. But I guess we need to understand why sometimes clubs do that. But sometimes you feel maybe, just maybe, they could do the madness if they just stayed. And as I'm saying, you know, in terms of Harvey Vale, is one player that I feel perhaps deserves a bit of time. But hope you guys have enjoyed this reaction video for the comments Mark Noble made on Rio Ferdinand's channel, Vibe with Five. Please comment about Declan Rice. That's the one that I really want to know from each and every one of you guys, how you felt. Do you feel he's the kind of midfielder that we really should be looking at? Premier League proven, powerful, athletic, could be box to box. The ceiling is high for this particular player. Yes, the price is probably not right, but should we be going around buying a whole heap of players, or should we look at one particular position that really strengthens us, which may then in fact have a domino effect to get the better of others? I don't know. I'm just throwing some ideas out there. You let me know how you feel about it, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. Smash the like button if you have. If you're here for the first time, subscribe, hit the bell notification to stay in touch with all my content. Until next time, see ya.